Do you really need to bleed the brakes on your BMW? Let's find out. Where am I going to put this fluid? Didn't think that through. Did I already lose my lug nut key? You're bored, aren't you? We'll go on a W sit, buddy. Oh. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the garage. We're working on the BMW again. Finally, have some maintenance that I've been neglecting. I think the light came on for the brake bleed procedure back in March of this year. It's September right now. So it's been quite a while. I've just been ignoring it. If you're anything like me, you grew up with working on cars, you never ever changed the brake fluid. It just existed for the life of the vehicle unless you had to get in there and open up the caliper or drum to do whatever maintenance there was, and then you had to bleed them when you replaced the fluid and inevitably got air in the line when you crack those lines open. That's the only time, honestly, before this car that I've ever done any real brake bleeding as part of the routine maintenance of it. But BMW says it's a good idea. And it's on the little things that pop up on the dash every 20 or 30,000 miles, whatever the hell it is. So I figured, why not? Bought some fluid from FCP Euro, bought a power bleeder, and the process is actually really simple. Probably takes longer to set up and tear down than it does to do the actual bleeding itself. So let's get into it. All right, let's get out the jack. These quick jacks are extremely convenient for doing the work, but setting them up can be annoying. Okay, and up we go. That's it for that part of it. All right, what we have to do here is the plastics out of the way, which there are a few little, I think 10 mil nuts here, and that will allow us to access the fluid reservoir. I think these are, yeah, it looks like they're just partial turn. So maybe only like a 90 degree, I think is what it's doing. Let's go. And that just lifts out, and there is our brake reservoir. It's dirty under here. So we'll get this out, maybe. There. Okay. This little filter, I'm gonna clean that off. You know what? I'm gonna change this glove that's just shedding stuff everywhere. Fluid does not look bad, but also doesn't look perfect. I'm gonna take this over to the trash can and blow it out with some brake cleanor. You can see this thing clips in there. Just has these little bumps on the side. Where am I going to put this fluid? Didn't think that through. So keep in mind that brake fluid is extremely corrosive. We always want to make sure that we keep it off the paint. I'll show you what this looks like. You can see there's the internals come right up to the top. I'm going to put the cap back on for now until I have the wheels off and ready to go. Let's get going on that. Just get to the point where the tires are on the ground. There. And I'm gonna lift it back up after we break these loose. And I'm not sure where my lug nut key is. Really hope it's in the car. There it is. So we set the car down, break the lug nuts free, then we will lift it back up. And just all 4 wheels. Lift the car back up. All the way. Cool. Impact. Just gonna go around quick, get all these out of here. Did I already lose my lug nut key? Or did I leave it over here? Yep, I left it over here. And last but not least, this guy. Okay, now what you need to do when you're bleeding brakes, you need to go around, start at the farthest corner, get all the fluid all the way out at that end, and then work your way in to the next nearest, the next nearest, and then the closest. So booster's right here. We're gonna start back right corner, back left, front right, front left. I'll get the hoses and things set up, and then we will go from there. Okay, we're at the back right side of the car, passenger side, and have the wheel off, obviously. You can see here. Wheels off, brake caliper is exposed. This car does have the M Sport brake package, all that kind of good stuff. So on the inside here is where the bleeder nipple is. It's right back here on the back side. What I have to do is put this hose on there, make sure it's nice and secure, and then once I have the whole system pressurized from the pump out front, I'll come back here to the back, use this fancy wrench. This is a, what do they call this? It's special for brake bleeder nipple. It has a little bit of a closed end on it here to get a better grip, because these things, at least on old cars, strip out all the time. I think, is this an 11? Yeah, it's an 11 millimeter. So I got these in a set, I don't know, maybe off Amazon. That it's hard to find just single ones of these. So I will go up front. We're gonna get it pressurized and ready to go. One thing I did notice here, which I'm gonna make sure I check as I go around to the other wheels, the sensor here, the wire for the sensor has been rubbing on something, and the internal copper is exposed. So I'm gonna make sure I wrap that and tie it back to something else so that it can't keep rubbing, because eventually that's just gonna fall all the way apart, and I would like that to not happen. I'll get this ready and we'll go around front and I'll show you how we pressurize. So we have our power bleeder here. What we gotta do is load it up with some brake fluid, obviously. Nice and mostly clear. Just dump it on in. And it's extremely important to make sure that the container here, the power bleeder, is clean. So when we're done here, we'll drain all the fluid out of it, and we will make sure that we run some alcohol through it also, and that'll really clean it out. The important thing with this is just to make sure that it has a consistent supply of brake fluid in it. Because if it doesn't, it'll run out and it'll just pump more air through the system, which completely goes against the goals of what we're trying to do here. So that is, let's see, you can kind of see it's about half full, which is adequate, I think. Screw this guy back on. Make sure that is nice and tight. Now, next thing we need to do, get this cap back off, and this system, this kit that I got, has a specific adapter for this car. I believe it's, most Germans have this. I don't really remember, honestly. But if you want to do this on another car, you'll probably just need a different adapter. So get that nice and secure. And then we're going to pump this up until it hits about 15 psi. Okay. So, it looks pretty good. Let this thing get any air out that it needs to. So we, again, don't want to be pumping any air through here. Just watch it for a moment to see if anything happens. It looks like we're maintaining pressure. So let's go back to the back of the car. It looks like everything's good here. Okay, we have our hose and our jar. Always make sure that this is somehow secured, whether or not you're holding it or it's weighted down, because if this pops out, it'll just shoot everywhere. So let's break this loose. Okay, there we go. Fluid is flowing, that's good. Actually, that stuff looks very clear. Fluid looks perfect. I might not need to do this. Look at this. That fluid looks brand new. Smells fine, looks fine. Wow. So after this, I think what I'm going to do now is just go to the other wheels, other brake calipers, drain them a little bit, and see if it's any worse. If it is worse, I'll keep going. But that looks very, very good. And I'll show you this here right now. Our pressure up here still it went down a little bit. And that's just because we let fluid out, which makes sense. Now that we did that, let's go to the driver's side. Check that, see if the fluid over there is also perfect. Because if it is, it's kind of a waste of time. I'm all for preventative maintenance, but this might just be completely unnecessary. Let's roll around. All right, wheel number 2. Let's see. Let's see what life has in store for us here. Yeah, this one still has the rubber cap on it. The other side doesn't. Crack this open. The fluid is also very good. Makes sense because up in the reservoir it also looks this clean still. Let's go look again and see where we are. Okay. Down to, I don't know, 13 psi. Let's put a couple more in. You know, now that I'm thinking about this, I'm pretty sure the last time I bled these, the fluid was also in amazing condition then. So it doesn't really surprise me. But it's like this now. So here is the front brake calipers. And these are a little different. You'll see, first of all, the bleed nipples on the outside. They're obviously larger. Okay, moment of truth for the front brakes. I can see a little bit of crud coming through. Just tiny little particulates. Interesting, I wonder what that is. We'll probably see them in the bottom here later. I'm smart. I'm an intelligent human. Check this out. I'm trying to get the hose to stay in here while I'm touching this end of the hose. Just put my wrench around it. That's what's cool about the closed end caliper wrenches. They actually can wrap around stuff. So I'm doing this so that I can catch the remaining fluid that is definitely going to come out of here. So I just hate brake fluid. I had a motorcycle growing up that the master cylinder for the rear brakes leaked like crazy, and over one winter it just covered the frame and rusted the poor thing out like crazy. And then it's just never the same after that. Okay. Oh. Move to the driver's front. And then we'll probably be done. Ooh, here we go. You can see I used about 4 PSI there. Leave this here. Please don't fall out. Okay. I'm gonna repressurize. There we go. What's it say on it? Oh, cool. It says Brembo. Yeah, these M Sport Brembo brakes are pretty sick. So I'm gonna do something now that I should have from the beginning because I just discovered it. Wrap the wrench around it to hold it down in there. So, last one. Let's break this loose. So that's the fluid. It's pretty damn clear. Let's tighten this. A little snuggy snug on it. So, you can see the fluid is, I would call that very, very good. So, probably wasn't necessary. Preventative maintenance sometimes isn't. What we're gonna do now is just wrap all this up. So to depressurize this thing, just start to unscrew it here slowly. Go. It'll go back in the tank here. This is most definitely going to leak. So just make sure your rag is around it. All right. Lift it up, it'll all drain back in. Yeah, so I expected that to be a lot more necessary. 94,000 miles, I'm pretty sure the exact same thing happened the last time I tried to do this. Or didn't try to last time I did this, where it just honestly wasn't necessary. But that's good, that means that there's nothing contaminating those brakes. I think the pads are still original, and they all have a very reasonable amount of life left on them. Right down the calipers a little bit. I'm gonna go back to that back corner and put some tape and zip tie on that one piece that's getting rubbed, just so that it doesn't go all the way through, because that is the brake sensor. So you can come with me for that too. This is the wire right here. Looks like it's been rubbing the inside of the wheel, which is not great. The first thing I gotta do is put a little tape on it. It's weird that it's not actually attached to anything. It doesn't look like anything has fallen off. It might, but I bet that's what it was. It probably used to be secured in place by the little boot with this bleeder nipple here that no longer exists. So I guess the next step is just put the wheels back on. I'm not using any real amount of torque here. You're bored, aren't you? We'll go on a W sit, buddy. Oh. One thing I want to show you though is this. We can see one of them is very obviously darker. I mean, I don't really care. We'll come back in another 20 or 30,000 miles and see what it looks like then. One thing we do need to discuss is cleaning this system. So you gotta let it drain. Probably just turn it upside down and let it drain out. But then it's also important to clean the hoses with should use denatured alcohol, but you can't buy that in California. So I'll just use normal rubbing alcohol. So when this stuff sits in a hose over a long period of time, it can degrade it significantly. Now we clean up. It's quite messy. Okay, we're gonna let the car down. And we'll torque all these things. Up. Okay. Gotta release tension. Kick out the catches. Oof, my shoulder hurts. It's not good. I believe I have what is called a shoulder impingement. And now we clean up. Oh, that missed the trash completely. Ooh, you know what we get to do. This is arguably the most important part. We have to reset the surface interval. Clear these things, push our select button, hold here for a bit. Yes. Resetting in progress. Ooh. Boom. 9 of 26. Cool. Engine oil. Reset possible. Yep. So we just did the oil too. It's 5:30. That took a while. I guess I'm just gonna turn the car off, put everything away here. Actually, I should start the car, let the oil circulate. 94,250 miles. That is almost dead on 60,000 miles since I got this car. I did put oil in, didn't I? I think so. Let's start it. Now I just gotta put the rest of the stuff away and we're done. And that's it. Overall, I think, yeah, you probably should change your brake fluid or at least check it like that every year or two. Luckily, my car, the fluid's really clean. You can tell from the difference in color that it definitely has been absorbing some water and contaminants over time. That's what brake fluid does. It absorbs water when it gets to its capacity and it can no longer absorb water. That's when the inside of your braking system can start to corrode and degrade. So if you have expensive brakes like that car has, it's a very good idea to check it regularly. Even if you don't have expensive brakes, it's probably a good idea to still check that regularly. At least look at the color of your fluid, make sure there's nothing getting in there. Hope that was helpful. Really simple process. And if anybody's interested, I can link the tools that I used down in the description below. And I think this is a milestone for us. We didn't break anything today. So thumbs up for that. Thanks for watching. I will see you on the next one.